Your kind doesn't belong here, the concierge sneers at the black woman in the lobby. The words slice through the marble-clad entrance of sapphire towers like shards of broken glass. They hang in the air, heavy with the weight of centuries-old prejudices that even Miami's scorching summer heat cannot burn away. The woman standing at the reception desk doesn't flinch. Her dark eyes, framed by natural curls that catch the afternoon light filtering through floor-to-ceiling windows, remain steady on the man who just sealed his own fate. This is a story about power, about assumptions, about the moment when the tables turn so violently that an entire empire shudders, about how one woman's quiet dignity becomes the weapon that brings down a fortress of prejudice. In the next few minutes, you'll witness how 20 years of patience crystallizes into a single moment of perfect justice. You'll see what happens when the person you dismiss as not belonging turns out to own the very ground beneath your feet. What would you do if someone judged you by your skin color instead of your success? Comment below and tell me where you're watching from. Opening, character and setting, introduction. The Miami sun beats down mercilessly on this July afternoon, turning the city into a shimmering mirage of glass and steel. Sapphire Towers rises 40 stories into the cloudless sky, its blue-tinted windows reflecting the Atlantic Ocean that stretches endlessly beyond South Beach. This is where money lives, where privilege breathes, where a square foot of marble flooring costs more than most people make in a month. The building stands as a monument to exclusivity, its very architecture designed to intimidate. The circular driveway curves like a moat around the entrance, separating those who belong from those who merely aspire. Lamborghinis and Bentleys idle at the valet station, while uniformed attendants move with practiced efficiency, their white gloves pristine despite the oppressive heat. Amara Jackson steps out of a modest Toyota Camry, her movements deliberate and measured. The car's paint shows its age, a few scratches along the driver's side telling stories of tight parking spaces and rushed mornings. At 45, she carries herself with the quiet confidence of someone who has nothing left to prove. Her cotton sundress, a simple navy blue that she bought at Target 3 years ago, falls just below her knees. The fabric, soft from countless washes, flutters in the ocean breeze. No designer labels, no flashy jewelry. Just a thin gold watch that belonged to her grandmother, the same watch that ticked away the hours as she built an empire from nothing, and sensible flats that have walked 1,000 miles of struggle and triumph. The valet, a young man whose name tag reads Eric, barely glances at her as she hands him the keys. His eyes are already tracking the Lamborghini pulling up behind her, its engine purring with the satisfied rumble of excessive wealth. He takes her keys with the same enthusiasm most people reserve for handling garbage, tossing them onto the valet board without bothering to give her a claim ticket. "Excuse me," Amara says softly. "My ticket?" Eric sighs, dramatically put upon by this simple request. He scribbles something on a worn ticket and thrusts it at her without making eye contact. "Don't lose it. We're not responsible for lost tickets." The Lamborghini owner, a silver-held man in a $1,000 polo shirt, receives a different treatment entirely. Eric's face transforms into a beacon of servility, all, "Yes, Mr. Davidson," and "Right away, Mr. Davidson." Amara watches this performance with the detached interest of an anthropologist studying a familiar species. She's seen this dance before, been on the receiving end of it more times than she can count. The difference is that now she understands it's not about her. It never was. 20 years. It has been 20 years since Amara last walked through these doors. The memory hits her with unexpected force as she approaches the entrance. Back then, she wore a different uniform, the gray polyester of the building's cleaning staff that made her invisible to everyone except the security guards who checked her ID every single morning, as if she might have become someone else overnight. Back then, she entered through the service entrance at 4 a.m., pushing a cart loaded with industrial-strength cleaners and dreams bigger than this building could contain. She remembers the weight of that cart, how it would stick on the carpeted floors of the upper levels. She remembers the ache in her lower back after hours of bending, scrubbing, making other people's messes disappear. Most of all, she remembers the penthouse, 40 floors up, where the air seemed thinner and the views stretched forever. She would pause in her work sometimes, staring out at the city lights, imagining a different life. Today, she enters through the front door. The automatic doors part with a whispered whoosh, releasing a blast of Arctic air conditioning that raises goosebumps on her arms. The lobby hasn't changed much. The same black marble floors, polished to mirror perfection. She knows exactly how much work goes into maintaining that shine. The specific circular motions required to avoid streaks. The same crystal chandelier that she once spent hours cleaning, balanced precariously on a ladder while the morning security guard told her to hurry up because the residents would be waking soon. The same smell of expensive cologne mixed with fresh orchids that used to make her sneeze until she built up a tolerance. The orchids are white today, arranged in massive displays that probably cost more than her first car. She knows they're replaced twice a week, knows that the old ones are thrown away even though they're still perfect, because perfection here has an expiration date. What has changed is the man behind the reception desk. The desk itself is a monument to excess, a single piece of white marble that seems to glow from within, its surface unmarred by anything as pedestrian as paperwork or coffee stains. Behind it sits Bradley Morrison, according to his gold nameplate, and everything about him screams privilege. 28 years old, Amara estimates, though he could be younger. His face has that indefinable quality of someone who's never missed a meal, never wondered if the electricity would be cut off, never had to choose between gas for the car and food for the table. His blonde hair is styled with the kind of casual perfection that takes an hour to achieve. His suit, clearly custom-tailored, fits him like a second skin, the fabric whispering money with every movement. His watch, a Rolex Submariner, catches the light as he types. His blue eyes sweep over her once, twice, and dismiss her before she even opens her mouth. It's a look she's seen 1,000 times before. The quick calculation of worth based on appearance. The instant categorization into matters or doesn't matter. She watches him slot her firmly into the second category with the efficiency of long practice. "Good afternoon," Amara says, her voice carrying the soft traces of her Alabama childhood that 20 years in Miami haven't quite erased. She's careful to keep her tone pleasant, professional. She learned long ago that anger, however justified, is a luxury she couldn't afford. "I'd like to see the model units." Bradley's fingers pause over his keyboard. For a moment, they hover there, suspended in space like he's conducting an invisible orchestra. Then he looks up, really looks at her this time, and his lip curls slightly. It's subtle. Someone who hadn't spent years reading the micro-expressions of disdain might miss it. But Amara catches it. "I'm sorry, but our viewings are by appointment only." His voice has that particular quality of fake politeness, sweet on the surface but rotten underneath. "Perhaps you'd like to check our website to see if any units in your range are available." The pause before range is deliberate, weighted with assumption. "I'm happy to wait," Amara says, placing her hands on the cool marble counter. Her grandmother's watch catches the light. Its simple gold band a stark contrast to the ostentatious displays of wealth around her. "I have time." Bradley's eyes flick to the watch, cataloging it, dismissing it. "The units here start at $5 million. He draws out the words like he's explaining something to a child or someone hard of hearing. "That's just for the basic units. The penthouses run considerably more. Perhaps you're looking for our sister property in Hialeah. They have some more accessible options." Hialeah, where the service workers live, where the people who clean these marble floors and tend these imported orchids go home to at night, where the real Miami, the one that keeps this glittering facade running, exists in small apartments and crowded streets. Amara knows Hialeah well. She lived there for 10 years, in a one-bedroom apartment with bars on the windows and neighbors who looked out for each other. She studied for her real estate license at the kitchen table while her daughter slept in the next room, the sound of sirens and late-night arguments filtering through thin walls. "I'm interested in this building specifically," she says, keeping her voice level. "I have fond memories of Sapphire Towers." Something flickers in Bradley's eyes. Confusion, maybe, or the first hint of suspicion. He glances at the security guard by the door, a subtle gesture that speaks volumes. The guard, a mountain of a man whose badge reads Torres, shifts slightly, ready. "Ma'am, I'm going to need to see some identification." Bradley's tone has shifted from fake politeness to barely concealed hostility. She reaches into her purse, a simple leather bag she bought at a discount store, worn at the edges from daily use, and produces her driver's license. He takes it between thumb and forefinger, holding it like it might be contaminated. He examines it with the intensity of a TSA agent looking for contraband, holds it up to the light, types something into his computer with exaggerated care. "Atlanta license," he murmurs, loud enough for her to hear. "You're a long way from home. I live in Miami now. Have for 20 years. She keeps her voice neutral, but inside she's noting everything. The way his nose wrinkles slightly when he says Alabama, as if the state itself is distasteful. The way he's making a show of this verification process, drawing it out to humiliate her. He slides the license back across the counter with 2 fingers, careful not to let their hands touch. "And what exactly is your budget for this aspirational viewing?" The word aspirational drips with condescension. He's not even trying to hide his disdain now. Behind Amara, a white couple in tennis whites breezes past, heading for the private elevator. Bradley's face transforms instantly, becoming warm and welcoming as he calls out, "Good afternoon, Mr. and Mrs. Hutchinson. Wonderful day for tennis." They wave back absently, already absorbed in their own conversation about dinner at the club. "My budget is sufficient," Amara says quietly. She's learned that in negotiations, the person who speaks least often wins. "I'm sure it is." Bradley doesn't bother to hide his smirk now. He leans back in his chair, a king on his marble throne. "But you see, Sapphire Towers has certain standards. We're very selective about our residents. It's not just about money, though that's certainly important. It's about fit, culture, making sure everyone feels comfortable." The security guard has moved closer, his hand resting casually on his radio. Other staff members, a woman arranging flowers, a maintenance man checking the elevator, have paused in their work, sensing drama. "And you don't think I'd fit?" Amara asks, genuinely curious now. She wants to hear him say it, wants him to put words to his prejudice. "Oh, let's be honest here." Bradley leans forward, lowering his voice to a confidential whisper that somehow carries across the lobby. "This is a very particular community. Our residents have certain expectations. They pay premium prices to live in an environment where they feel safe, where their property values are protected, where they don't have to worry about disruptions." "Disruptions," Amara repeats. "Like what? You know?" He waves a hand vaguely. "Loud music, too many visitors, children running in the halls. The kind of things that happen when people aren't used to living in a place like this." Each word is a coded insult, assumption wrapped in false concern. Amara has heard them all before, in 100 different variations. The underlying message is always the same. You don't belong. Your presence alone is a threat to our way of life. "I see." She reaches into her purse again, her movements calm and deliberate. "Perhaps this will help clarify things." She produces a simple business card, cream-colored with elegant black lettering. Nothing ostentatious, just her name and title. She places it on the marble counter between them. Bradley takes the card between thumb and forefinger, his expression suggesting he's handling something distasteful. His eyes scan it once, and then he does something that will replay in his nightmares for years to come. He laughs. It starts as a snicker, then builds into full-throated laughter. A. Jackson, CEO of AJ Holdings? He waves the card in the air like a flag of surrender. Do you have any idea how many fake business cards I see? Every wannabe entrepreneur in Miami has a card saying they're a CEO of some made-up company. He flicks the card into the wastepaper basket beside his desk with practiced aim. It lands among coffee cups and discarded mail. Another dream dismissed. Listen, he says, and now his voice has taken on a patronizing tone, like he's doing her a favor. I'm trying to save you some embarrassment here. This isn't the place for you. I can see you've worked hard, saved up, probably watching those get-rich-quick real estate videos on YouTube. But this isn't some movie where the plucky heroine gets to live in the penthouse. This is real life. And in real life, there are places for people like us, and places for people like you. The lobby has grown quiet. A handful of residents have gathered near the mailboxes, pretending to check their mail while watching the scene unfold. Someone has their phone out, recording. The red light blinks steadily, capturing everything. People like me, Amara says. Her voice hasn't changed, but something in her posture shifts. She stands a little straighter, her shoulders squaring. Tell me more about people like me, Bradley. He stands now, all 6 feet of entitled confidence. His suit jacket falls perfectly into place. His shoes, Italian leather, she notes, clicking against the marble floor as he comes around the desk. It's meant to be intimidating, this display of physical superiority. Look, I'm going to be straight with you, because I think you need to hear this. His voice drops lower, meaner, the mask of professionalism finally slipping completely. People like you come in here thinking you can fake it till you make it, but this isn't some rags-to-riches fairy tale. The daughter of some sharecropper or whatever doesn't just waltz into Sapphire Towers like she belongs here. Sharecropper, Amara repeats softly. Interesting assumption. Am I wrong? He's warming to his theme now, energized by his own cruelty. I can see it all over you. The way you talk, that bargain basement dress, driving a car that probably breaks down every other week. You probably grew up in some shack picking cotton or whatever, and now you think because you saved up enough for a cheap suit and printed some business cards at Kinko's, you can play in the big leagues. The woman arranging flowers gasps audibly. Even Torres, the security guard, looks uncomfortable, but Bradley isn't finished. This building has a reputation to maintain. We can't have just anyone walking in off the street, bringing down property values, making our real residents uncomfortable. So why don't you do yourself a favor and leave before I have security escort you out? There's a Comfort Inn about 10 blocks north. More your speed. They even have a continental breakfast. I hear people like you love free food. People like me, Amara says again, tasting the words. Black people, you mean? I didn't say that. But his smirk says otherwise. You didn't have to. She pulls out her phone, her movements calm and deliberate. You've said quite enough. Oh, what are you going to do, post about this on Twitter? Claim discrimination? He laughs again, ugly and sharp. Good luck with that. You know how many times people try to shake down places like this with fake discrimination claims? We have lawyers for that. No lawyers needed. She scrolls through her contacts with practiced efficiency. Just one phone call. Right. You're going to call your cousin who's a lawyer or something. Maybe that community organizer who helped you print those fake business cards? He gestures to Torres. Get ready to escort this woman out. She's becoming disruptive. Torres steps forward reluctantly. He's a big man, built like a former linebacker, but there's no enthusiasm in his movements. Ma'am, I'm going to have to ask you to leave. With that information, she can watch until the entire process unfolds. Her face moment together, her mind, though much like her own, full of worry. Michael? Yes, I'm in the lobby. You should come down here now. Bradley rolls his eyes so hard it's a wonder they don't fall out of his head. Seriously? You're going to pretend to call someone? That's pathetic even for someone like the executive elevator chimes. It's a different sound from the regular elevators, Amara knows. A softer, more refined chime that announces the arrival of someone important. Everyone in the lobby turns toward the sound, watching as the brushed steel doors slide open with whispered efficiency. Michael Chen emerges at a near run, his usually immaculate appearance slightly disheveled. His Armani suit, which probably costs more than most people's cars, shows signs of hasty dressing. His face, normally composed in the careful mask of upper management, is flushed with exertion and something that looks remarkably like panic. He's 52 years old, has been managing luxury properties for 25 years, and has never moved this fast in his professional life. He skids to a stop in front of Amara, actually bowing slightly, sweat beading on his forehead despite the Arctic air conditioning. "Mrs. Jackson," his voice cracks like a teenager's. "I am so incredibly sorry. I had no idea you were coming today, or I would have met you personally at the entrance. I would have had the staff prepared, the penthouse ready for viewing." The silence that follows is absolute. Even the fountain in the center of the lobby seems to pause its eternal cascade, the water hanging suspended in midair like everyone's disbelief. Bradley's face begins a fascinating journey through the stages of realization. First, confusion, his brow furrowing as he tries to process what he's hearing. Then doubt, his eyes darting between Michael and Amara. Then the first flickering of understanding, followed immediately by the cold wash of horror. "Mrs. Jackson?" His voice is barely a whisper. "But she said, the card you threw in the trash," Amara asks pleasantly. "Yes, what about it?" Michael turns to Bradley, and there's something almost pitying in his expression, the way you might look at someone standing on train tracks who hasn't yet heard the whistle. "Mr. Morrison, this is Amara Jackson. She's the CEO of AJ Holdings, the investment group that purchased Sapphire Towers last week. She owns this building. She owns your job. She owns the very ground you're standing on." The phone in the recording resident's hand shakes slightly, but they keep filming. This is better than anything on Netflix. Bradley's knees actually buckle. He drops to the marble floor he was so proud of moments ago, his perfect hair falling across his face. His hands shake as he reaches out, though whether in supplication or disbelief is unclear. I'm so sorry, I don't." Amara's voice cuts through his stammering like a blade through silk. "Don't you dare apologize now. Not because you're sorry for what you did, but because you're sorry you got caught. You said everything you needed to say when you thought I was just another black woman you could dismiss." She turns to Michael, dismissing Bradley as effectively as he dismissed her. "Mr. Morrison's employment is terminated immediately. Security will escort him out, through the service entrance. He can clean out his desk after hours, when our real residents won't have to see him." "Yes, ma'am, right away." Michael gestures to Torres, who looks relieved to have clear direction. "Wait!" Bradley scrambles to his feet, tears streaming down his face, mixing with what might be mascara. So much for natural blonde perfection. "Please, I have student loans, I have rent, I have a lifestyle to maintain, a lifestyle." Amara turns back to him, and there's something almost serpentine in the grace of her movement. "Let me tell you about lifestyle, Bradley. 20 years ago, I cleaned these floors. Every morning at 4 a.m., I pushed a mop across this very marble you're crying on. I lived in a one-bedroom apartment in Hialeah. Yes, that Hialeah you think is beneath you, with my daughter. I studied for my real estate license by candlelight when the electricity got cut off because I had to choose between the power bill and her school supplies." So with that, Summers touches, she steps closer, and Bradley actually cowers. "I built my company one property at a time. Not in some Silicon Valley garage with venture capital funding, but in Section 8 housing, helping families find homes they could afford. I learned this business from the ground up, Literally. And every single time someone like you told me I didn't belong, I used it as fuel. The lobby is a tableau now. Everyone frozen in place, watching this reversal of fortune play out. You have 10 minutes to leave before I have you arrested for trespassing, she continues. And Bradley, that sister property in Hialeah you mentioned, they're not hiring either. I own that too. In fact, I own 14 properties across Miami-Dade County, and you won't be working at any of them. As security moves in, Bradley's desperate pleas echo through the marble lobby. This is discrimination. You can't fire me for one mistake. I'll sue. Please do. Amara's smile is sharp as winter moonlight. I would love to play this recording in court. I'm sure the jury would find your views on people like me fascinating. Torres takes Bradley's arm, not roughly but firmly. As they head toward the service entrance, the same entrance Amara used for 10 years, Bradley makes one last attempt. I was just doing my job. I was protecting the building. No, Amara says quietly. You were protecting your prejudice. There's a difference. The service door closes with a definitive thud. In the sudden silence, someone starts a slow clap. Then another. Soon the lobby fills with applause, though Amara notes carefully who's clapping and who's edging toward the exits. Michael, she says, raising her voice slightly. Effective immediately, Sapphire Towers is closing for 48 hours. Full staff review. Anyone who has ever turned away a potential resident based on race, religion, or any other discriminatory factor will be terminated. No exceptions. No excuses. Understood, Mrs. Jackson? I want a complete audit of our rental and sales practices. Every rejection from the past 5 years. I want to know who we've turned away and why. If there's a pattern of discrimination, I want to know about it. She walks to the waste paper basket and retrieves her business card, holding it up to the light. Such a simple thing. A name, a title, a dream made tangible. The card is slightly stained from coffee residue, but still readable. She pockets it. A reminder. One more thing, she says. Set up a meeting with the head of maintenance. I want to tour the service areas. I want to meet every single person who keeps this building running. The real backbone of Sapphire Towers. And Michael, make sure they know they're getting raises. 20% across the board for all service staff. A cheer goes up from the back of the lobby where several maintenance workers have gathered. Also, she continues, I want you to hire a new head of resident services from the community. Someone who understands that respect isn't determined by the color of someone's skin or the label on their clothes. Someone who's lived in Hialeah or Liberty City or Overtown and knows what it means to work for everything they have. I'll start the search immediately, Michael says, typing notes into his phone with flying fingers. No need to search far. She glances at the woman who'd been arranging flowers, a middle-aged Latina who's been watching with wide eyes. What's your name? Maria Gonzalez, ma'am. How long have you worked here, Maria? 15 years, ma'am. Started in housekeeping. Worked my way up to lobby services. Do you have any experience with customer service? Yes, ma'am. I have a degree in hospitality management from FIU. Night school. Then congratulations on your promotion. Michael will discuss the details with you. Maria's eyes fill with tears. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. As Amara heads toward the executive elevator, the residents part like the Red Sea. Some look ashamed, others defiant, but all step aside. She pauses at the elevator doors, her reflection in the polished steel showing a woman in complete control. Oh, and Michael? Contact the Employment Commission. Mr. Morrison's final check should include a detailed note about why he was terminated. I want his next employer to know exactly what kind of man they're hiring, and make sure that video, she nods toward the resident still filming, gets saved. I have a feeling we'll need it for the discrimination lawsuit, he threatened. The elevator doors close on her small, satisfied smile. Bradley Morrison stumbles onto the hot Miami pavement, his Italian leather shoes slipping on the concrete. The service entrance spits him out between two dumpsters. The symbolism not lost on anyone. His Armani suit is wrinkled, his perfect hair mussed, his eyes red with tears and rage. Torres hands him a cardboard box containing his personal items. A motivational calendar, a coffee mug that says "World's Best Boss," a framed photo of himself shaking hands with someone important at a charity gala. The contents of a life built on appearances. 10 minutes, Torres says, not unkindly. Then I have to call the police. Bradley doesn't move for a moment, staring up at the building that was his kingdom just minutes ago. 40 floors of glass and steel that now feel like they're looking down at him in judgment. He thinks about his apartment in Brickell, the lease he just renewed at $4,500, 0 cents a month, his BMW payment, his country club membership, the reservations at restaurants where they know his name, or knew it. He pulls out his phone, hands shaking as he scrolls through his contacts. His first call is to his father, a man who pulled strings to get him this job, who always said the right connections were more important than competence. Dad? There's been a situation, but Thomas Morrison Sr. has already seen the video. It's spreading through Miami's elite social circles like wildfire, shared in private WhatsApp groups with shocked emojis and cautious commentary. Don't come home, his father says, and hangs up. His girlfriend is next, Stephanie, a real estate agent who loved dating someone from Sapphire Towers, who brought clients by just to show off where her boyfriend worked. I can't be associated with this, she says before he can even explain. I have a reputation to maintain. The irony isn't lost on him, but he's too desperate to appreciate it. By the time Torres returns, Bradley is sitting on the curb, his box beside him, scrolling through job sites on his phone. Every property management company in Miami will have heard about this by tomorrow. His name will be toxic, associated forever with the video that's already garnered thousands of views. He thinks about Hialeah, the place he sneered at just an hour ago. Wonders if they're hiring. Wonders if he could survive on a regular salary without the perks and bonuses he's grown accustomed to. Wonders if this is what karma feels like. A bus rumbles past, its diesel exhaust making him cough. Public transportation. Another thing he looked down on. He'll be learning about it firsthand now. As he stands to leave, a woman exits through the service door. Maria Gonzalez, carrying her own cardboard box. But hers is different. She's moving up, not out. Their eyes meet for a moment. Mr. Morrison, she says quietly, for what it's worth, I'm sorry it ended this way. He wants to say something cutting, something cruel, but the words die in his throat because he realizes she means it. After 15 years of watching him dismiss people like her, she still has enough grace to show him compassion. It's a lesson he's too proud to learn. Not yet. Whatever, he mutters, and walks away. His Italian leather shoes already starting to pinch. The security footage will go viral within hours. The community's judgment arrives in minutes. Climax, identity reveal, and power reversal. The video explodes across social media like a match thrown into gasoline. Within an hour, Sapphire Towers CEO is trending. The footage, crystal clear thanks to modern phone cameras, captures every sneer, every dismissive gesture, every coded insult Bradley Morrison threw at Amara Jackson. The comments pour in by the thousands. The way she stayed calm the whole time, Queen energy. He really said people like you in 2025. That moment when he realized chef's kiss. From cleaning lady to CEO to owner. This is the American dream. But it's not just social media taking notice. By evening, local news stations are running the story. By the next morning, it's national. CNN picks it up with the headline, "Cleaning Lady Turned CEO Gets Ultimate Revenge on Racist Employee." Fox Business runs a segment on the dangers of judging by appearances in modern business. MSNBC invites a panel to discuss systemic discrimination in luxury real estate. Amara watches none of it. Instead, she spends the 48 hours of closure doing exactly what she said she would. She tours every inch of Sapphire Towers. but not the gleaming public spaces. She explores the bowels of the building, the maintenance rooms, the laundry facilities, the break rooms where service staff eat lunch on plastic chairs. She meets Rosa Martinez first, the new head of resident services. Rosa is 25, born in Hialeah to parents who fled Cuba with nothing but hope. She graduated summa cum laude from FIU, speaks 4 languages, and has been working 3 jobs to support her younger siblings through college. "Why weren't you working here already?" Amara asks as they sit in what used to be Bradley's office. "I applied 2 years ago," Rosa admits. "Mr. Morrison said I didn't have the right look for front-facing positions." Amara makes a note, another lawsuit to add to the pile. She meets the maintenance staff next. Jorge, who's kept the building's HVAC system running for 20 years despite budget cuts and deferred maintenance. Sarah, who manages the cleaning crew with military precision and motherly care. Dimitri, the night security guard who's working on his law degree during slow shifts. "Nobody ever asked us what we think," Jorge says over coffee in the break room. "But we see everything. We know which residents treat us like humans and which ones act like we're invisible. Make a list," Amara tells him. "The ones who treat you with respect get priority maintenance. The others can wait." It's petty, perhaps, but she's earned a little pettiness. The audit results are damning. In 5 years, Sapphire Towers has rejected 89% of applicants who were people of color, citing various reasons. Insufficient credit history for a neurosurgeon with perfect credit. Concerns about lifestyle fit for a black tech executive. Unable to verify income for a Latino businessman who provided 6 months of bank statements. Meanwhile, white applicants with bankruptcy histories and trust fund incomes were welcomed with open arms. "How many lawsuits are we looking at?" Amara asks her legal team. "Conservatively, dozens. Realistically, we might be looking at a class action." "Good. Settle them all, full compensation plus damages, and make the settlements public. That could cost millions. Then it costs millions. Consider it an investment in doing the right thing." Word spreads quickly through Miami's service industry network. Good jobs at Sapphire Towers, real opportunities for advancement, fair treatment regardless of background. The applications pour in. Mara personally interviews every candidate for leadership positions. She looks for hunger, not pedigree, experience, not connections, character, not color. By the time Sapphire Towers reopens, half the staff is new. The other half has undergone intensive training on unconscious bias, fair housing laws, and basic human decency. Those who grumble are invited to seek employment elsewhere. Most choose to stay and learn. The residents are another matter. Some threaten to break their leases, outraged by the radical changes. Amara has her lawyers explain the ironclad contracts they signed. Others, surprisingly, express support. Mrs. Chen, a widow on the 15th floor, stops Amara in the hall. "That young man was always rude," she confides. "He once told me my accent was too thick for him to understand. I've lived in America for 40 years and have a PhD from Harvard." Stories like this emerge from every corner. The gay couple in 23B who were made to provide extra documentation. The Jewish family who were told the building was fully leased during their high holidays. The single mother who was questioned extensively about her lifestyle and overnight guests. Each story strengthens Amara's resolve. She implements new policies. Blind application reviews where names and photos are hidden until final approval. Diversity requirements for all vendor contracts. Cultural competency training for every employee, from janitors to executives. A resident advisory board that includes people from every background represented in the building. But the real change comes from visibility. Amara makes Sapphire Towers her primary office. She's there every day, visible in the lobby, riding the regular elevators, eating lunch in the cafe. She learns every employee's name, their children's names, their dreams and struggles. And the maintenance team's children need school supplies. A fund mysteriously appears. When Maria's daughter gets into medical school but can't afford it, a scholarship materializes. When Jorge's wife needs cancer treatment, the company health insurance somehow covers everything. Thus, we became, "You can't save everyone," Michael warns her, "and this is cutting into profits." "I'm not trying to save everyone," Amara replies. "I'm trying to prove that success doesn't require stepping on others, that power can lift people up instead of keeping them down." The financial reporters who expect Sapphire Towers to hemorrhage money are surprised when the opposite happens. Occupancy rates soar to 98%. The waiting list grows. Property values increase by 15% in 6 months. It turns out that many wealthy people actually prefer living in a building known for its values rather than its exclusivity. Young tech entrepreneurs, international families, progressive retirees, they all want to be part of something better. "How?" a reporter asks during Amara's first public interview about the transformation. "It's simple," she explains. "We stopped trying to keep people out and started inviting them in. We stopped judging by appearance and started evaluating character. We stopped protecting privilege and started promoting merit. And you know what? Excellence isn't diminished by diversity, it's enhanced by it." The interview goes viral too, but for different reasons. Business schools add it to their curriculum. Other luxury buildings quietly revise their policies. The phrase, "the Sapphire Standard," becomes shorthand for inclusive excellence. Bradley Morrison watches from his studio apartment in North Miami Beach, the only place that would rent to him after his credit cards were maxed out and his car was repossessed. He's working at a cell phone store now, making $15.00 an hour plus commission. His father still won't speak to him. His girlfriend is engaged to someone else. He tells himself he's the victim. That reverse discrimination cost him everything. That if Amara had just been honest about who she was from the beginning, none of this would have happened. But late at night, when the city is quiet and he's alone with his thoughts, doubt creeps in. He remembers Maria's kindness as he was escorted out. He thinks about all the people he turned away over the years, the dreams he crushed with a sneer and a excuse. He Googles Amara Jackson one night, reads her real story. The teenage mother who worked 3 jobs while getting her GED. The woman who started her real estate career by helping other single mothers find safe, affordable housing. The CEO who still drives a Toyota Camry because, as she told Forbes, "It reminds me where I came from." There's a photo of her from 20 years ago in her cleaning uniform at Sapphire Towers. She's smiling, holding a mop, standing in the very lobby where he would later try to destroy her. The caption reads, "Jackson kept this photo in her office throughout her rise to success. I never wanted to forget that every job has dignity," she says. He closes the laptop and stares at the water-stained ceiling of his apartment. Tomorrow, he'll go to work and try to sell phones to people who remind him of who he used to be. He'll smile and be polite, because his manager, a young black woman who treats him with more respect than he probably deserves, insists on it. Maybe, eventually, he'll learn something from all this. Maybe he'll understand that respect isn't about money or skin color or the clothes someone wears. Maybe he'll realize that the only thing that really matters is how you treat people when you think they can't do anything for you, or maybe he won't. Some lessons are too painful to learn, but at Sapphire Towers, the lessons continue every day. In the lobby, where a security guard is studying for his bar exam during quiet hours. In the penthouse, where Amara hosts Sunday dinners for the staff, serving the same soul food her grandmother taught her to make. In the boardroom, where decisions are made not just for profit, but for people. The building hasn't just changed, it's been transformed. What was once a monument to exclusion has become a model for inclusion. What was once a fortress of privilege has become a beacon of possibility. And in her office on the 40th floor, Amara Jackson looks out at the city she's called home for 20 years. The city that tried to break her. The city that made her. The city that now watches to see what she'll do next. There's a soft knock at her door. Rosa enters with the day's mail and a cup of tea. Not because Amara demands it, but because Rosa noticed she always forgets to eat lunch when she's working. The Times wants to do a feature, Rosa says, about the transformation of Sapphire Towers. Tell them no. Amara accepts the tea gratefully. We're not done transforming yet. What's next? Amara pulls out a folder thick with plans and projections. I'm buying 3 more buildings. All of them have the same problems we had. Discrimination disguised as standards. Prejudice dressed up as policy. We're going to change them all. That's ambitious. My grandmother used to say, if you're going to dream, might as well dream big. She turns from the window, and there's fire in her eyes. We're going to show this entire industry that inclusion isn't just the right thing to do. It's the smart thing to do. Rosa grins. Where do we start? To the Meridian complex in Coral Gables. Their manager makes Bradley look progressive. He's about to learn what happens when you mistake a person's appearance for their potential. As Rosa leaves to make arrangements, Amara returns to the window. The sun is setting over Biscayne Bay, painting the sky in shades of gold and crimson. Somewhere in the building below, Jorge is teaching his nephew the basics of HVAC repair. Maria is interviewing candidates for the night shift, looking for someone who deserves a chance. The building hums with life and possibility. 20 years ago, she stood in this same spot, invisible in her gray uniform, dreaming of something more. Now, she's living that dream. But more importantly, she's making it possible for others to dream too. Her phone buzzes, a text from her daughter, now finishing her residency at Johns Hopkins. Saw another article about you, Mom. Still changing the world, one building at a time. Love you. She smiles, remembering the little girl who did homework in the break room while Amara cleaned offices. The girl who grew up believing that hard work and kindness could overcome any obstacle because she watched her mother prove it every day. Another knock. Michael enters with a stack of contracts. The Meridian sale is going through. They don't know it's you. Yet. Perfect. I'll enjoy seeing their faces when they find out. You're enjoying this too much, he says. But he's smiling. After 20 years of being told I don't belong, yes, Michael, I'm enjoying proving them wrong. Every single time. He leaves the contracts and goes, understanding that some satisfactions are earned through struggle. Alone again, Amara picks up the business card Bradley threw away. She's had it framed now, coffee stains and all. It sits on her desk as a reminder. You are not defined by how others see you. You are defined by how you see yourself and what you do with that vision. The city lights begin to twinkle as darkness falls. Each light represents a life, a dream, a possibility. Once, she cleaned windows so others could enjoy this view. Now she owns the building. But more importantly, she's opened its doors to people who were once locked out. Here's to people like us, she whispers to the night, raising her teacup in a toast. May we continue to rise, and may we never forget to lift others as we climb. Tomorrow there will be new challenges, new prejudices to overcome, new battles to fight. But tonight, in the building that once rejected her, Amara Jackson sits in peaceful triumph. Not because she proved Bradley Morrison wrong, that was too easy, but because she proved something to herself and to everyone watching. Dignity cannot be destroyed by disrespect. Dreams cannot be killed by discrimination. And sometimes, just sometimes, justice comes to those who wait, and then work to make it happen. The view from the top is sweeter when you've scrubbed the floors to get there. Ending, flashback and message. 6 months have passed since the day Bradley Morrison learned the hardest lesson of his life. Sapphire Towers has become a symbol, not just of luxury, but of what's possible when prejudice gives way to progress. The transformation is visible everywhere. The lobby, once a sterile monument to exclusivity, now pulses with life. Children play by the fountain while their parents chat in multiple languages. The concierge desk, where Bradley once held court, is now staffed by a rotating team that reflects the city's diversity. The wall behind them displays a new motto in elegant gold lettering: "Excellence has no color. Respect has no price. Welcome home." But the real change isn't in the decor or the policies. It's in the people. Jorge's nephew, mentored through an apprenticeship program, just passed his certification exam. He'll start next week as Sapphire Tower's youngest facilities technician, making more money than his parents ever dreamed possible. Maria's daughter graduated from medical school debt-free, thanks to the scholarship fund Amara quietly established. She's coming back to Miami to practice in underserved communities, paying forward the opportunity she received. Rosa has been promoted to Vice President of Operations for all of AJ Holdings properties. At 26, she's the youngest VP in the company's history, but no one questions her competence. She's earned every bit of it. And tonight they're all gathered in the penthouse for what's become a monthly tradition: Sunday dinner with the woman who changed their lives. Amara moves through her apartment, the same penthouse she once cleaned, with the easy grace of someone finally at home in their own skin. The space is elegant, but warm, filled with family photos and artwork from local artists she's supporting. The dining table, hand-carved by a craftsman in Little Haiti, is set for 20. "Mrs. Jackson," Rosa says, helping to bring out dishes of soul food that fill the air with the sense of Amara's Alabama childhood. "I still can't believe you cook all this yourself. My grandmother would haunt me if I served my guests anything less than homemade," Amara laughs. "Besides, there's something healing about cooking for people you care about." The gathering is eclectic. Maintenance staff and executives, residents and employees, people whose paths would never have crossed in the old Sapphire Towers. But here, in this space, they're simply family. As they eat and laugh and share stories, Amara finds herself thinking about the journey that brought her here. Not just the past 20 years, but the generations before her. Her grandmother, born into sharecropping, who never learned to read, but made sure all her children did. Her mother, who cleaned houses for 50 years and died without ever seeing the inside of a building like this as anything other than a workplace. "You're quiet tonight," Michael observes, sitting beside her. "Just remembering," she says softly. After dinner, as the guests mingled on the terrace overlooking the glittering city, Rosa approaches with an elderly woman Amara doesn't recognize. "Mrs. Jackson, this is Mrs. Washington. She has something she wanted to tell you." The woman, easily in her 80s, takes Amara's hands in hers. Her grip is surprisingly strong, her eyes bright with unshed tears. "You don't know me," Mrs. Washington begins, "but I knew you. 20 years ago, I lived here with my late husband. You cleaned our apartment every Tuesday and Thursday." Amara searches her memory and finds it. The kind couple in ATF who always left her cookies and thank you notes, who treated her like a person when so many others looked through her. "I remember," Amara says warmly. "You had that beautiful grand piano. You used to play Chopin while I worked." "Yes." Mrs. Washington's face lights up. "I moved away after Harold died, but when I heard what happened here, what you've done, I had to come back. I had to tell you." She pauses, composing herself. "I watched you all those years, working so hard, always smiling, even when people were cruel. I used to tell Harold, that young woman is going places, and look at you now." They embrace, and Amara feels the circle closing. Past and present, struggle and triumph, all connected in this moment. As the evening winds down and guests begin to leave, Amara finds herself alone on the terrace with Rosa. The younger woman is staring out at the city with the same hunger Amara once felt. "Do you ever think about what would have happened if Bradley hadn't been working that day?" Rosa asks. "If someone else had been at the desk, someone who didn't judge you, then I might have just viewed an apartment and left," Amara replies. "And nothing would have changed. Sometimes the worst moments lead to the greatest transformations, but it must have hurt. being treated that way. Amara is quiet for a long moment. It did. But you know what hurt more? Knowing it happens every day to people who don't have the power to do anything about it. That's why we can't stop with just this building. Rosa nods, understanding. The Meridian Complex acquisition closes next week. Their staff has no idea what's coming. Good. Surprise inspections are the most revealing. Amara's smile has an edge to it. I especially want to meet their head of security, who reportedly told a black family they were loitering in their own lobby. He's in for a shock. They all are. But more importantly, the people they've been keeping out are in for an opportunity. As Rosa leaves, Amara remains on the terrace. The city sprawls below, a tapestry of lights and lives. Somewhere out there, Bradley Morrison is probably getting ready for another shift at the phone store. She's kept tabs on him, not out of malice, but out of curiosity. He's kept the job for 6 months now, a record for him. His manager reports that he's polite to all customers, even overly so with customers of color, as if he's trying to atone for something. Maybe he's learning, maybe he's just surviving. Either way, his story serves as a cautionary tale that's rippled through Miami's luxury real estate scene. Discrimination hasn't ended, it's too entrenched for that, but it's become riskier. Property managers think twice before dismissing someone based on appearance. The cost of prejudice has become too high. Her phone rings. It's her daughter, calling from Baltimore. Hey, Mom. I just wanted to say goodnight and to tell you I'm proud of you. For what, baby? For everything, but especially for staying true to yourself. You could have become like them, you know? Cold, exclusive, caring only about the bottom line. But you didn't, kids. I had good examples, Amara says, thinking of her grandmother, her mother, Mrs. Washington, all the people who showed her kindness when they didn't have to. We rise by lifting others. After they hang up, Amara goes inside and walks through her apartment. In her office, she pauses at the wall of photos. There's the original, her in her cleaning uniform, young and determined. Next to it, a recent photo from the Forbes shoot, her in a designer suit standing in the same lobby. But her favorite is the newest addition, a group photo from last month's community job fair at Sapphire Towers. Hundreds of people from every background imaginable, all united in hope. She touches the framed business card on her desk, the one Bradley threw away. Such a small thing to have started such a big change. But that's how it always is. The biggest revolutions begin with the smallest acts of disrespect, the tiniest assumptions that some people matter less than others. On her desk is a letter from the city, commending Sapphire Towers for its revolutionary approach to inclusive luxury living. There are speaking requests from universities, consultation offers from other property companies, book deal proposals. She'll consider them all eventually, but not tonight. Tonight, she just wants to be still and remember. She remembers the weight of the mop bucket, the ache in her back, the chemical smell that clung to her clothes. She remembers counting pennies for bus fare, watering down her daughter's milk to make it last, falling asleep over textbooks after 16-hour days. She remembers the security guard who made her show ID every morning for 3 years, as if she might have transformed overnight into someone who belonged. She remembers the resident who complained that she was too loud while vacuuming, then complained she was too slow when she tried to be quieter. She remembers Bradley's predecessor, who once told her to use the freight elevator because residents didn't want to ride with the help. But she also remembers the security guard who snuck her coffee on cold mornings, the resident who left out study guides for the real estate exam after overhearing her goals, the maintenance worker who taught her about building systems during breaks, knowledge she'd later use to evaluate properties. Every cruelty and every kindness, woven together into the fabric of who she became. The intercom buzzes. Mrs. Jackson? Sorry to disturb you, but there's someone here who says he needs to speak with you. Says it's urgent. She glances at the security monitor. A young man stands in the lobby, nervously shifting from foot to foot. Something about him seems familiar. Send him up. When the elevator opens, she understands why he looks familiar. He has Bradley's eyes, the same crystal blue, but without the coldness. He's younger, maybe early 20s, dressed in a neat but inexpensive suit. Mrs. Jackson? I'm Connor Morrison, Bradley's brother. She gestures for him to sit. He perches on the edge of the sofa like he might need to flee at any moment. I know you have no reason to talk to me, he begins, words tumbling out in a rush. But I had to come. I had to tell you. I'm sorry. For what my brother did, for what my whole family represents. You're not responsible for your brother's actions. No, but I benefited from the same system that created him. Private schools, connections, opportunities handed to me just because of my last name and skin color. He takes a shaky breath. I watched that video 100 times. Kept thinking about all the times I stayed silent when I heard similar things. All the times I benefited from being the right kind of person. Hamara studies him. Unlike his brother, there's genuine pain in his eyes, real awareness of complicity. What do you want from me, Connor? Nothing. I mean, I'm not here to ask for anything. He pulls out an envelope. I'm in my last year at law school. I'm going to be a civil rights attorney. I wanted you to know that what happened here, what you did, it changed more than just this building. It changed me. He stands to leave, placing the envelope on the coffee table. That's a donation to your scholarship fund. It's not much, but it's what I can afford. And Mrs. Jackson? Thank you for showing us who we really are and who we could be instead. After he leaves, Amara opens the envelope. Inside is a check for $500. 0 cents. Probably a significant amount for a law student, and a note for someone who deserves a chance. She adds it to the scholarship fund file, another drop in an ocean of change. It's nearly midnight now. The building has settled into its nighttime rhythm. In apartments throughout Sapphire Towers, families are living lives that wouldn't have been possible 6 months ago. Children are doing homework at kitchen tables their parents can finally afford. Dreams are being dreamed in languages that were once unwelcome here. Amara returns to the terrace for one last look at the city. Miami sprawls before her in all its complicated glory. A city of extremes, where devastating poverty exists blocks from obscene wealth. Where the American dream is both promised and denied in equal measure. She thinks about the next building she'll transform, and the one after that. She thinks about the Bradleys of the world, still guarding their gates, still confusing exclusion with excellence. She thinks about the young Amaras out there, pushing mop buckets and dreaming of more, wondering if their dreams are too big for their circumstances. They're not, she whispers to the night. They're never too big. A movement catches her eye. Far below, the night cleaning crew is arriving for their shift. They enter through the main entrance now. She insisted on that. No more service entrances, no more hidden passages for the people who keep the building running. Everyone comes through the front door because everyone belongs. She watches them chat and laugh as they prepare for their shift, and she remembers. The solidarity of the overnight workers, the shared exhaustion and shared dreams, the way they looked out for each other when no one else would. One of them looks up, perhaps sensing her gaze, and waves. She waves back, two workers acknowledging each other across the divide of years and floors and circumstances. But really, there's no divide at all. Just a continuation of the same story. People working hard, dreaming big, refusing to accept limitations placed on them by others. Tomorrow will bring new challenges. The Meridian Complex acquisition, the lawsuit from a disgruntled former resident who claims property values have dropped. They haven't. They've increased. The constant work of maintaining change in a world that prefers the status quo. But tonight, in the building that once rejected her, Amara Jackson stands as proof that prejudice is not permanent, that power can be claimed by those deemed powerless. That sometimes the very people you try to keep out are the ones who will ultimately let you in, or lock you out. She raises her hand to the window, pressing her palm against the cool glass. 20 years ago, she cleaned this glass until it was invisible, so others could enjoy the view. Now, the view is hers, but more importantly, she's made sure others can see it too. No one is born deserving more than anyone else, she says to her reflection. We all start with the same worth. It's what we do with it that matters. The city glimmers its agreement, a million dreams lighting up the darkness. And in sapphire towers, a building transformed, a monument to possibility. The dreams burn brightest of all. Because sometimes the person you reject today doesn't just sign your last paycheck tomorrow. Sometimes they change the whole world. Sometimes they show us that the only real estate that matters is the space we make for each other. And sometimes, in the best of times, they remind us that home isn't about who you keep out. It's about who you let in.